All right, if you want to learn how to play jazz, you've got to learn how to play rhythm changes. And today we're going to take a guitaristic approach to rhythm changes and discuss chord voicings and what exactly is happening with rhythm changes. Rhythm changes are called rhythm changes because the original tune that they were based on was written by George Gershwin, and it was called "I've Got Rhythm." And it was those changes were subsequently taken for tunes like Ornithology by Charlie Parker and Cottontail by Duke Ellington and Oleo by Sonny Rollins. All right. You may want to listen to those tunes and now listen to them in the light of rhythm changes. Okay, rhythm changes. Here I've got an example of rhythm changes in the key of B flat. The first chord here is a B flat major 7. You can use a B flat major 7 or a B flat major 6. I prefer a 6 because it changes nice and quickly. So here we go. So basically what we've got here is a 1, 6, 2, and 5. So you may now in order to make these changes smoothly, I'm just going to sort of analyze what I'm doing. As you can see, I've got 2 fingers in common when I'm making that change. Right? So these common fingers and guide fingers are really essential if you want to play this at a clip. You know that 2 and 5, 6, and then let's do the 6 here, B flat major 6, B flat 7. Is acting as a secondary dominant that leads to the 4 chord and then to the E flat minor 6. So we have a 4 minor there, but there are other possibilities and we'll get to those. So back to the 1, 6, and 5, 1, 6, 2, 5. So that gives us the first 8 measures, and then we play the same 8 measures over again, and giving us 16 measures in total. I'm just going to play that from the top. 4 measures, and then 5, and then 8 measures. 12 measures, and then we sit on the B flat. Okay, now there are substitutions and all sorts of cool stuff you can do, and we'll deal with that. But let's go to the next, the center section, the middle 8. And the middle 8 is a cycle down from the 3 chord, right? The 3/7 chord. Cycle, G7, cycle, C7, F7. And then we're back. 1, 6, 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5, 1, 7, minor. Okay, good. The minor 4 chord, you caught that, right? All right, so now I'm going to one at a time give you some possibilities for substitutions that you can work into your own playing. Now, let's start with the 1 to the 6. Now, in this case, I'm doing a 6 with a dominant 7th, not a G minor, but a G7. And it just gives us an extra leading tone. great, right? There's no issue there at all. You can do the same thing with the C minor 7 and change it to a dominant as well. So now you've got. Okay, there's one substitution. Now when you go from the B flat to the B flat 7, E flat major 7, and E diminished 7th. That's a nice change right there. And then we go back to the. Okay, so yeah, that's that 4 chord going to the diminished chord. That's a nice one. Another thing you can do too, you don't have to necessarily stay in this region of the fretboard. You can try different voicings. You can move down to the G minor. You can hear that now. Yeah, that gives you a different bass line. You can try that, and you can again make it into dominance. Okay, good. Then let's take a look at the cycle down from the 3. Here is a really cool one. We can take that cycle and change it to tritone substitutions. So that would give us a. Let's just do this way. I'm not going to explain the theory. Okay, I will explain the theory. I take it back. Here's the tritone of this C, D7. If I go down to the G7, I have the same tritone except a semitone lower. If I go down to the C7, I have the same tritone, a semitone lower. If I go down to the F7, I have the same tritone, a semitone lower. Now, rather than switch my bass notes, I'm not going to switch the bass notes that way. I'm going to move them chromatically, but keeping the same tritone. That's a cool one, and that trick is used over and over again in standards. That tritone substitution chromatic movement trick. Oh man, if you get a grip on tritone substitutions, and it's a really powerful thing, and a powerful thing for understanding with improvisation as well. So you've got this moving chromatic bass line, right? Rather than the little less, slightly less interesting, which sounded, sounds a little hokier than the chromatic movement. You don't necessarily have to make all the movement chromatic either, right? You could do this. Right? You can pick and choose where you want to use that tritone substitution. Okay, I think that's probably a decent jump into rhythm changes. I'll probably do another video on rhythm changes. You should learn these changes not only in one key. B flat's a very popular key because of horn players. They love B flat, right? And so guitar players end up having to play in B flat all the time, right? but learn the same changes 1 6 2 5 1 6 2 5 in several different keys, like G, like E flat, right? And then memorize them. That's really, really essential, and get that cycle of dominant thing. Just that's really easy to remember once you can remember the form being 1 6 2 5 1 6 2 5, and then we have the 1 going to a 7, leading to the 4 and to a minor or to a diminished, and then back to the 1 6 2 5. There are other options here, but we're not. I'm not going to cover them all in one session. Many other options. Okay, but let's start with the meat and potatoes here, right? 1 6 2 5 as secondary dominant leading to the 4, passing chord diminished, all right? And then we will, and then you will memorize this in several different keys, and just really get a grip of what is happening here. For you guitar players out there, one thing that I've done a lot of and had the opportunity to do a lot of, and I would really encourage you to do it, is go out and find a horn player, right? Even if it's just the two of you, and you can play changes and rhythm changes, chord changes. Let the horn player do his thing, and it's just so much fun to be able to comp for another player. So don't just stick in guitar world. Use that thing, put it in a case, and go and visit somebody and play some changes. Right? That's what it's all about. Meet some people. Okay. Yeah. Get off your couch and go out and meet some people. Start a jazz trio or something. Right? Okay, good. And thanks a lot. And I hope that was a help to you. And we'll see you real soon.